Good day, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to Founders Integrated Services Limited, where we make agribusiness as simple as possible. Now, today we are talking about introduction to poultry production. My name is Kushimo Oluwaseun, and we felt the urge to talk about this because a number of people approach us that they are willing to go into poultry production and have little or no knowledge about the sector. We want to use this video as a means to explain to us, by way of presentation, an overview of what it takes to be poultry production, what are the nitty-gritties, the challenges, and every other little overview that you need to know before you start thinking of investing or going into poultry production. Just go along with me, and if you have any question, feel free to send us your feedback. We'll appreciate that. Alright, let's start by going to what is an overview of the industry, that's poultry industry. Let me point out at this point that most of this presentation is domiciled in Nigeria. That is, we talk more on Nigeria as our case study. But some of our outcomes might apply to some other countries in Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa. But our findings is majorly in Nigeria. And the poultry sector is one of the most commercialized area of agribusiness in Nigeria. The reason is not far-fetched. We have several types of products livestock that fall under these categories: guinea fowl, turkey, pigeon. These are the animals that fall under those categories of what you call poultry production. Now the sector is quite huge, and the market is getting more matured by the day as a result of several indices which explain why it is so, like fast food proliferation, processing companies creating huge opportunity for the sector, and making the sector more matured in terms of the market outlook. I'll start with egg production within the span of 1992 to 2012. This is very far, but I'll just use this data to tell us what the future holds. There was a rise in egg production starting from 2002, when the importation of poultry products was banned. If you check this infograph, you see there was a sharp rise from this point onward. Now, before then, the production has been haphazard, rise, fall, rise, fall. But from the year 2002, the Nigerian government become more interested in encouraging local production as against imports. So there was a sharp increase. So many other factors are responsible for this, not only as a result of the seriousness of the Nigerian government, but in terms of population, in terms of other marketing outfits who were promoting egg production. We'll discuss that later on. Let's talk about the per capita consumption of meat. When I mean meat, generally, this one is not only chicken or what is of meat. We consume less meat compared to other parts of the world, especially the developed parts, like USA, Spain, Canada, France, Japan. Nigeria's per capita consumption of meat, that's the meat intake in terms of kg per person in a year, is still low. This is not far fetched when when you consider the poverty index in those countries relating to Nigeria, but it can only get better due to rise in middle class and you know population increase. Let's talk about chicken production within the same span, 92 to 2012. So it also correlates the same facts we saw under egg production. Meat, chicken production also increased within that same period of time. See, they were steady, then it jumps up. Now, here also, the major reason is there was some sort of change in government policy in terms of importing frozen foods. The governments, started a series of ban, border restriction, and the rest. So that accounts for some slight change in production as well to meet up with the government's uh, change in policy. The per capita consumption of egg. I talk about meat the other time. Now for egg, we do not consume much egg in this part of the world. In fact, we consume less than 100 egg per person per year. That's the meaning of it. Now take a look at it, which means if you look at the number of eggs eaten per person per year, it's not up to 100. In fact, it's around 70. Compared to Japan, where you have about 320 plus thereabouts, which means we don't consume much egg. And as we know, there is this recommendation that we eat at least one egg per day. So a number of people fall below that one egg per day, but majority of us fall below that. So given that potential, despite the lack of consumption as we speak, shows the only place to go is still up. The poultry, the egg production, consumption can only go up. And with the government initiative now as we speak tending towards promoting egg consumption at the primary school level, i.e., through school feeding programs and the rest, then with the likes of PAN, Poultry Association of Nigeria, spearheading consumption of egg to boost production, to boost market, egg production can only be on the rise. Now, what are the factors that make poultry farming a very profitable business? Like we said, agribusiness. Poultry products are consumed by all, irrespective of the income status, making it more visible. Now, what that means is it's not subject to religious sentiment nor religious biasness. Like for example, some meat, say for example, pork, is not consumed by some religion, while some find it interesting to eat. So, but this is not so for poultry. It goes across all religions, all ethnics, and everything. So it doesn't have any reason not to be consumed, considering the population of the country. The increase in demand for proxy products like noodles. Now, the annual demand for noodles is about 1.9 billion packs, as against the market demand of 3.2 billion packs annually. Increase in demand for supplements. So there has been an increase in demand for noodles. We have several of them these days, and most of the time these noodles are taken with poultry products. Either they are taken with eggs or they are taken with chicken, which is also marketing the product, pushing it for more uh, intake. Increase in demand for white meat. Campaigners of health have sown consciousness into our people, making them demand more white meat than red meat. Well, poultry had to be one of those that are leading that pack. So all these factors point to the fact, underline why poultry is very profitable. Now, what are the agribusinesses under poultry production? What are the different areas that you can go to, that you can consider, or you are not so aware of that you can do? Let's talk one after the other. We have egg production, very popular, by rearing layers who lay the eggs, you sell the eggs. Meat production, during your festive period, you eat broilers, cockerel, and the likes. Hatchery, which is chicken breeding. Some people rear the chicks, which you buy, which others buy, like those who rear turkey, those who rear broiler, who rear them at from eggs to day old. So they fall under this category. Is they are all involving several genetical manipulations, several technical details that we might not discuss here, but it's also a business on its own. We have poultry feed production. These are this underline the business of poultry itself. The fact that 70% of cost of production of either your egg or your meat production system lies on feed, the quality of the feed, the cost of the feed. So this aspect also is a very huge business for whoever is considering. Then we have equipment manufacturing. Several equipments are used for the poultry cage, your crates, your drugs, your mention them. There are several sophisticated equipment, especially if you go to those who practice highly mechanized poultry production. We have now automated systems of poultry rearing. All these are under poultry equipment manufacturers. We have researches that are going on to make mass production easier. All those ones are equipments, and they are very, very much attractive. Egg and meat processing, packaging and marketing. Well, every business outfit required a marketing part. So if you're you're an egg producer, you need someone to market your eggs. If you're a broiler producer, you need someone to market your broiler. So all these are the different areas of production you can embark on that are profitable. However, you still need to do your market research well, get your strengths, know where your interest lies, and key into the business. What are the types of birds that can be reared? We have the domestic fowl or chicken, turkey, guinea fowl, duck, goose, pig, peacock, quail. I won't talk much on either of these. I'll only talk more of the poultry birds. But turkey is also an area that is very, very lucrative. Likewise, quail, because of the eggs, because egg campaigners are also on the rise. Now, what are the poultry equipment and appliances that you will need for either one of them? This is just a few of them. We have the feeders, the drinkers, nets, the crates, lighting system. These are various equipment and appliances you might need if you are to go into any of them. Let's talk briefly about some of them. Egg production. There are two main types of production system. The most common being cage system, where the birds are laid in cages like you can see in the picture here, and they are fed and produce eggs which are picked here, and the birds are kept throughout their productive lives in cages. Well, however, this requires high capital investment, considering the fact that you have to use the cage, feed them. It's only recommended when you are under commercial egg production, high number of egg production. If your egg production is not too small, you might not. And look at the profit margin in terms of the costs, projected costs, revenue, and your projected profits. It's just an overview. You still have to do your business plan or feasibility study to consider your scale of production. Then you have deep litter system. Now under this case, the birds are confined in a floor space. Optimally, you can use 8 to 10 birds per meter square to ensure free movement. And the floors are covered with deep litters, that's wood shavings, sawdust, to absorb their waste. When your production is not so much in terms of egg, you can adopt this system, and the system is also very, very good when you're talking about broiler production. Now, this is just a rundown of the costs of production. Now, these costs, when you are, that's 1000 layers. Now, this cost is not obtainable as we speak, but you can relate with the mode of the costs as the present costs, like the point of lay. It should be around 1002 now, but as at the time of this presentation, this was the cost of feeding, and your projected costs of raising these birds. However, there are assumptions. It's assumed that this cost is based on 20 weeks of 20 weeks old birds, which means you have purchased them at the point of lay. Then your cage has a capacity of 120 birds, and it covers only for 56 weeks. Other costs, including your building, are excluded here as your fixed assets. Then what's the income realizable? 1000 birds could give you 28 crates averagely on a daily basis, which, if you used 500 naira per crates, obviously this price might not be it's not obtainable now, or inflation thereabout. But an overview, like I said, this was based on this what's obtainable as at the time of conducting this presentation, and you realize up to 7 million. Now this is over the period of 56 weeks. Now that's the productive life after you've gotten them from point of lay, when they started laying. So the profit analysis, considering your income and your costs, you can see there is much to gain. Let's do briefly for broiler too. Now, expected your broiler is gotten at 180 with 1000 birds. You have to go the initial cost now. Then cost of feeding them, it is estimated averagely they take 5 kg per bird. That's an average feed consumption for the period of 10 weeks. Your drugs vaccination might not be the same as I said, but giving everything being equal, you have these costs, and then the profit margin is quite high because the birds only have to eat for 8 to 12 weeks, and they're ready for the market. Now, for those who want to go into breeding, this is a major part for day-old chicks rearing. It involves rearing them, fertilized eggs are raised, and they are placed in the incubator for them to lay eggs. It is more expensive, very capital intensive, because you require um, power supply 24 hours to power the incubators. You also need high technical knowledge of breeding the the birds. So it's capital intensive, but it makes a lot of sense because in less than 21 days your birds are ready to sell. If you are rearing 2,000 chickens, you need to patronize these people. So it depends on how the capital available for you. It's also very lucrative. Now, feed production. Now, the grains production is not going up at the same pace as poultry, which is of concern in the poultry industry. Now, the poultry industry, majority of the component of the feed is grain, and grain production, as it's were in Nigeria, is not meeting up with the expected demand coming from feed production and also human consumption. So by the time you look at the two indices that are competing for the same resources, there is a huge gap in that sector, which is affecting the inputs of farmers in poultry production. Now, variation in the prices of maize and soya beans over the years has been a factor that dictates the prices of feeds. This is so because of the variation in pattern of production and seasonality of those major components of feeds. The current feed requirement is about 2.8 metric tons, which is likely going to rise to 4.5 metric tons by the year 2020. And that is to tell you that in years to come, we might be unable to have feed, or there might be a problem getting feeds to get to the poultry producers. Now, that's one of the challenges. Let us state more of the challenges that you are likely going to face. High startup capital, outbreak of diseases. There was an outbreak of disease some years ago, as avian influenza, which could affect all your investment. Adulterated and high cost of feed, of poultry feed. Increase in cost of production. Raw material limitation. Importation of poultry products, which is a very big concern, especially for processed products. Have any question? Don't worry. Send us your questions at info@farmdocs.com or visit our website www.farmdocs.com. We'll be glad to be of help. These are some of our references for this presentation. Thank you very much for listening, and do have a wonderful investment into poultry. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of these videos and presentations. Once again, thank you and God bless.